This is going to be a special episode where we're going to talk about stealing your life. Not fighting for your life. We're going to talk about steal your life. And so when I started writing and making and music and everything else like that, it was to find people who are like me, which is also a bonus, and who want to work together towards making music together, and and learning so much about the craft and learning so much about their personal journeys, along with being able to communicate mine. And I just think it's for me, my cup is full, meaning that I'm just so happy that I've had this opportunity to work with some amazing people, and do the thing that I love doing, which is making music. Regardless of the fact that anyone with a subscription can create all the music they want, pretty much. I'm coming at this from a different perspective, where it's about the craft, and it's also about that connection, that mind-body connection, and some would say spiritual connection, that we have with making music ourselves. And I think that you're a musician, whether you play an instrument or not. I think you're a musician and an artist, whether you have a paintbrush or not. It's all about what's in here, what's in your heart, what your motivations are, what your energy is, and things like that. And people may disagree with that, but hey, just name a place, anytime, anywhere, and we can work it out. as long as as long as I get to play with no rules, we're good. Anyways, and so having said all that, I would be remiss to say, like I said, I can't leave out Tommy Kabuski, or Kabuski, sorry, I keep messing up your last name, and that is Fish Official from It's Official. What up, indeed. What up, indeed. And so I think we should get into the show. So this is an interview about Steal Your Life from It's Official and Echoes in the Static. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the audience who you are, all the things.
This is going to be really short, but my artist name is It's Official, spelled Offishal. My real name is Trey. You can call me Fish. And I originally did EDM, particularly dubstep, for like 10 years. Then I switched over to producing metal in about 2023, 2024-ish. And, well, here I am. Now I predominantly make metal because I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. And it's also a great way to process the stuff that I'm going through, whether it's mundane things or more severe things. I'm able to process things a lot more than when I was just making cool dubstep drops in EDM. That's me.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I appreciate the most about you was your how much you test your stuff. Like, you bring it to your car, you bring it on your phone, you do all this other stuff, and just how much professionalism, if you will, in my humble opinion, that you bring to everything you do. So like I do,
by the way.
What's that?
I said likewise, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. So I do want to dig in a little bit. What was some of your earlier influences beyond, was there a specific group or artist that really pushed you? And so you said you came from the EDM. Was there like an artist that comes to mind when you're just like, wow, like this like really changed my musical, or started it?
Are you talking when I switched over to metal, or just generally speaking?
So EDM first and then metal, if you have two artists that you
Well, EDM, it's I found Skrillex when I was pretty young. I can't remember how old, probably 13 or something, 14.
nice.
Found Skrillex, thought that was dumb and stupid because it didn't have words. And then very quickly I came around to it and I was like, hey, this is actually pretty cool. Then through that, I started finding more artists like Zomboy, if you've heard of him.
I have.
He was coming up a lot, or coming up. Yeah, it was Zomboy, Diplo, Zed, Avicii. It just, finding Skrillex just led me into this whole thing. Snails, and I really wanted to learn how to make that kind of music, so I pirated FL Studio on my mom's laptop when I was like 15. And sorry, Mom, if you're listening to this. And I'm essentially self-taught. I did go to school for sound recording technology for a few semesters, but I learned a lot more about recording music than I did making anything. But yeah, this started with Skrillex, and then I started to get into DJing myself, and even attempted to make it as a DJ. I did a few weddings and stuff, and was not finding fulfillment in that because everybody just wanted to hear the cha-cha slide. And I tried to make it fun by remixing songs with the cha-cha slide, but it just wasn't doing it for me.
I think this is a problem a lot of DJs have,
And then going from that, like I started listening to a lot of hip hop and rap through my late teens. And I was pretty set on that. I had no interest in listening to metal. I had listened to Skillet a little bit growing up. It was like as heavy as I got.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I remember this very vividly in 2019. My friend and coworker played Popular Monster for me in the car on our lunch break, and like I was like, "What is happening right now?" Because at the time I had never heard anything like that. I had heard screams and stuff, but the combo of the clean singing with the screams, or like the breakdown coming when you didn't really hear anything like that earlier on in the song. That like hit a switch. I remember looking through Falling Universe's catalog and finding nothing else like that song. But that was like the switch that flipped, and I started my if you will climb up the heavy music hill.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, so I started climbing that hill, and I was very particular. I was like I wanted screams for emphasis. I didn't want that to be the whole point. Like that wasn't the main thing. It was just to emphasize things. As long as the chorus is clean, then I'm good with it. And then eventually I kept climbing my heavy music mountain, if you will. And now here I am doing the screams myself, and mainly all I listen to is metal. Things like I'm going to see Whitechapel and Slaughter to Prevail this weekend, so I've been listening to them a lot, and they don't have any clean singing. Yeah, that's how I got to where I am now with my music taste and stuff.
I think it's important to kind of understand the people behind the music and find out if you really resonate with them, and that like actually giving them a chance. There's been a lot of communities who have been like, you're not for us, you're not for us, you're not for us. But I eventually found my people, and my people is you, Fish and Tommy and all like Nextro, Sad Mary, everybody that Ruben, everybody that comes by and everything like that. I don't want to just sit here and shout out and talk about me per se. The point is that It's Official. He has other songs, and I please go check him out because he's on one of our mutual friends playlist, and the playlist is called Vocal Destruction, I think is what it's called. And the reason why it's called that is he's so good at screaming, and it's interesting to hear you say that that was something that you saw it as accents instead of like the main feature, but then you ended up being able to do something that I think is extremely difficult to do. Not just because I have a hard time with it, but because I think a lot of people struggle. And so with that, but you were able to turn that into something that was a part of your sound. And I have a lot of respect for you for that. And I have a lot of respect for you just trying new stuff. Your work on Volatile, I think and we'll talk about that in a second, was awesome. And I think it was one of the reasons why I knew that we were going to work well together, just because of how melodic that song is. So again, check out It's Official. Yeah, did you want to add anything to that little bit there?
Well, first, thank you. I appreciate that. I do think it's funny now that I'm saying it out loud how I hated dubstep and then ended up making it, and then I hated screams and now I do them. I'm like, I guess that's just the way I roll, is I really hate it and then I go, it's not so bad, and then I learn how to do it.
People say that about me. I really hate you, and then I came around on you.
Well, I won't say that. I liked you, and so I became your friend.
The next part's going to be the collaboration catalyst. We've both been kind of we were both doing our own thing, and then what made you want to team up with me, Echoes and Static?
The simple answer is you could sing and I couldn't, and I wanted to do songs that had that had singing on them.
All right. Hey.
But also, you have a very unique voice. So I don't want to throw shade at anybody, but in the metalcore world at the moment, there's a very specific voice that I'm hearing all over the place. So when I heard your voice, I was like, we can make something really unique, because your voice is so much different than what's currently all over the place at the moment. So, I mean, that was like a big reason where I was like, I kept like, I was saying, hey, let me get you on a song. Mm-hmm. And then, time goes by, I write another song here and there, and then I come back, like, hey, let's do it. Come on, let's do a song. And then I'm like, all right, let me just finish this one, and then we'll do a song. And it was like constantly in my mind that I'm like, I want to do a song with JJ. I really want to do a song with JJ. And then it finally happened. It turned out to be, it's the biggest project I have ever worked on by far. And it pushed me in so many ways. And like, I've only collaborated with 2 other people, and both those people are like very strong friends that I know really well. Mm-hmm. So collaborating with you on this, where I am your friend, but I hadn't known you for very long. So I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. And it turned out to be a really cool journey. And I think we made something super awesome.
Yeah. So let's talk about the 50-50 workflow. Let's get into that a little bit. What would you say for your 50% originally when you brought it to me? Because I'll start you off with this. Originally, this song was very different, and you were like, I think I want to scrap it. I think we're just trying too hard.
Okay, yeah. So I think this goes for any kind of art. I don't think there's many artists out there who have the exact vision of what they want to make and set out and make that exact same thing. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's a little bit more rare. I feel like usually you have an idea of what you want, you have like kind of a big picture, and you're working towards it, and you put the pieces together as you're on your way to the end, and then eventually you step back and you go, oh, there it is. So when we first started doing this, and for those who don't know, I don't play any instruments. So everything that I write is with MIDI. And I think that comes from my EDM background, where no real instruments in the EDM world. So when I came over here, I'm producing the same way that I was producing that. So I kind of just, over the course of 4 hours, I made like the instrumental while JJ was streaming. And I'm like, hey, look, instrumental. What do you think? And it had all kinds of different stuff in it. And then when we finally got together to work on it, and you started giving your thoughts, and it very quickly started turning into something else. And one of the things as an artist that I think is really important is to know when you're headed in the wrong direction, or you're taking a path and you're like, I'm not too sure about this one. And it's worth kind of seeing if you come to a clearing or something. And where we first were going with it, I'm like, we're hacking through the trees and the vines, and I'm like, let's see where this thing goes. And I'm like, okay, I don't think this is the right direction. I think we need to turn around and try it again. And I think as an artist, that's like really important to have that quality, to know. You kind of have to put your ego aside, because usually a lot of work was put into something and you have to look at it and go, never mind, that ain't it. And you have to scrap it and kind of start from zero. Anyways, that's my perspective on how when this thing started and how we then ended up going towards what it is now.
I agree with that. I mean, he left out a lot, but that's why I'm here. He left out. So it was back and forth, and when I say that, I mean that in the best way possible. I know all of you have worked with someone either in your daily life or in music, or if that's what you do for a living is music. So that those two things are the same. It was, this could be considered a glazing thing, but I don't give praise ever. But I think your dedication to the overall mission success was very impressive, because I was like, whoa, hey, easy. Don't there's some bones here. There's some bones here. Maybe they're not attached with tendons, and we don't have the muscles yet, but there's some stuff there. Because I have a feeling you would have been like, delete, move on. Let's come up with something else. And so, one of the things that really caught me was when we had tried to figure out how to share lyrics, because lyrics, I don't think personally enough people give credit to people who actually write lyrics themselves. I think that some writers are writers, and I think some singers and everybody else are performers of whoever wrote that thing. And usually writing is pretty collaborative. It doesn't really fall to one person. So when this song original, we didn't even have a title for it. It was just JJ and Trey. I think that's what we said. Dot wave. And it was originally about if you can imagine this, for people who can't, there's actually a mental issue there. I can't remember. I think it's aphasia or something like that. But essentially, if you can picture in your mind's eye where it's the end of the world, like nobody's ever written about this before, by the way, and you had said that during one of our collaboration sessions, which really cracked me up. You're like, I know we're breaking new ground here, but hey, just hear me out. What if we write about the end of the world or whatever, right? And so it cracked me up because I don't think anybody had written it specifically like how we were about to do it. And I heard it in my head first. And I've said this before, a lot of my music and a lot of my originality comes, and I think a psychiatrist would say it's all schizophrenia or like a version of it. But I can hear my original sound and my original music from like back over here. And it's just this side of the screaming and crying that I hear all the time in my head. And because I always hear like all these things that are happening in my head, but sometimes out of the static. I'm not trying to be this way, I swear to God, but that's the only word that I know, or the only words that I know to noise. We can call it noise if people prefer that, but out of the white noise, out of the everything else, I can hear original, like I can hear original compositions, and I can hear original music come out of that. And what I heard after listening to what our shared drive, the song, and listening to it, either in the shower or like just kind of walking around the house and trying to figure out how to put that on a loop and stuff like that, and just doing different things, I heard a version of the song, and eventually that's what it became. But I very much wanted to start, based off your original lyrics, I wanted to start it with, we're at the end and we're going to recap how we got here by telling the audience all the decisions that were put in front of us and how we made all the wrong ones, so to speak. And it's the end of the world. It's sort of the end of planet Earth, if you will, or end of a world. It doesn't have to be Earth. It can be something like outer space type, like Halo or whatever. And I remember thinking, everything's falling around us. And so I took your lyrics, and I obviously rewrote, did a bunch of stuff. So my contribution for my 50% of this stuff was adding a lot of melody, adding more of a comprehensive story to the track. And then we went back and forth on like how to say what we were going to say. And the original part was no matter what we did, and it wasn't enough, or it wasn't like we lost, right? And so then the first verse was going to be, and is to this day, kind of an explanation of the beginning of how we got here. So we kind of started at the end of the movie, and then we flashed back to the beginning, and we started telling the story of how we got there. And for me, that was amazing. I had so much fun because the way that you approached it, and then the way that like I approached it, there was a moment when we were writing this where I told Fish why I wanted what I wanted, where I wanted it, and he, to his credit, I'm saying this truly, he took what I said and was like, "Oh my God, I need to change everything about this first verse."
Yep.
And because you know, and I don't talk about it often. If you want to know who I am, listen to the song, listen to music. But I told him about a moment during war, and he was just like, well, I mean, it's because you know, we had gone back and forth on the tonality and like the delivery of the first verse. And I'm taking this starting from, you know, the beginning and the verse and everything. And the beginning, I love the beginning because the intro, if you will, because it's almost like the echoes of the future coming into the past to tell you how we got here, or how we're gonna get there. And that melody I came up with on the piano as I was streaming and as I was doing different things, and as I was thinking about the story of the song, because again, I'm telling you, I'm going to beat this dead horse until there's nothing left but dust. But if you can make anything, as long as it has a story, and as long as you can land the plane of the story. So you take off and then you land, you know, beginning, middle, and end. That's the secret sauce right there. And so I told him about it, and he completely rewrote the first verse and how the transition from the intro into the first verse goes. And I thanked him so much for that, because I felt like you captured what I was feeling in that moment and what I was experiencing really well with the instrumental. So I thank you for that. If you want to add anything to it, I'll open it up.
Yeah. So I think I remember when we did that, because I was thinking about the whole thing much different. I was trying to go, what sounds cool? What's got a good rhythm? You know, what's something we can catch the listener's attention with? We have these lyrics, but because you wrote these lyrics, I kind of like put some lyrics, like kind of air quotes, wrote the song lyrics. Then we went through them, and you were like, this isn't really working. This doesn't make sense. This would sound better. This one has way too many syllables. That's going to be a mouthful. And like really refined to make sure we stayed on track. And like you said, told the story. And we weren't just going all over the place, because I tend to word vomit when I write lyrics. So in that part, we had the lyrics already. And I'm like, how can we make it work? Make it catchy, make it groovy. It's the first verse, and we were trying stuff, and I'm like, this. I feel like it just isn't working. I was trying to get you to do things out of what you normally would do.
True.
I was even pushing things like that. It's not like the style I was trying to pull out of you was not something that naturally works with your type of singing and your voice. And then when you told me the meaning behind this whole first verse, I'm like, I have been thinking about this completely wrong. Like my headspace was just, I was not trying to put the listener in a spot and wrap a whole world around them.
Yeah.
And when you told me, I mean, as you told me everything, it was like even longer than the song, and I'm like, I feel like I'm in a movie right now. like this is crazy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I was like, okay, what we currently have, it ain't working. Let's go back to the drawing board. And I remember us sitting there like for however long it was with it looping, and then I think what we landed on was far better than anything we were trying to force earlier.
Yeah. You know, just to speak to that a little bit, insofar as you don't know when you have it. And it is I hate that, because people sometimes tell me you have the it factor, and I'm like, can you be more specific, or are you trying to piss me off? But like, or people say to other people, you don't have the it factor, right? And I think it is substance. And I think when I told you the substance, you were just like, oh my God. You're like, okay, I'm locked in now. I got this thing figured out. Like, not like 100%, right? Like, but you were like, oh, okay. Here's what we're gonna do now, you know. And I could tell in the preceding versions of this song, "Steal Your Life" by Echoes and Static, or it's official Echoes and Static, "Steal Your Life." Go download it now and watch it.
Official Echoes and Static.
That's right, damn right. And I felt that I didn't feel, I knew that you had like, you were like. And to me, I could really, I really appreciated that, because I was like, well, this could go either way. He could totally not care about what I said and why I was doing what I was doing, or he could just be like, I am so on board right now. And so, well, I guess there's a plethora of options in between. I mean, you could have, well, anyway, so, you took it, you ran with it. It was great. It was, it was really good. And then I want to share this with everyone, listening to other people, because Tommy was a part of this process too. And in a weird way, Tyler was also a part of this process too. I want to give him a shout out, Lord Tyler. I said his name. Hold on, Lord Tyler. So he better show up, or that'd piss me off, because I need him to appear whenever I summon him, if you will. And when I say summon, I don't mean like he's a subject. I mean that he's a technomancer, so that technically I'm calling upon otherworldly powers. That's what I mean by that. But in a way, a lot of these people contributed to where we're at, and it was like listening to all you guys sing a version of me was awesome. You have to say his name into ChatGPT at least 3 times. Having you guys sing, so Fish sings on the track. I don't know if anyone knows this, but that's not me screaming. It's official screaming. That is Fish, and singing as well, because there's some singing in there too from him. But they did a impression of me when they were trying to help me get their point across when they heard versions of the song, when they would stop by when we were working on it. Gotta tell you, that was awesome in all the right ways. It was hilarious. It was like, are you screwing with me, or are you like legitimately just trying to match my tonality? And just a couple other things. But do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, I remember, we might be jumping around here, but I remember when we were trying to figure out the chorus. We had already done a couple different things, and in my head, I'm like, it's just simply not good enough. Like, it's so mediocre. So when I was working on it on my own, I was just like, I'm like trying to put myself in JJ's shoes. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he's the one who's going to be singing this. And when JJ says that I did some singing on this, he means I did like harmonies here and there. Mm-hmm. All predominantly the clean singing, it's all him.
Still counts.
So when I was when I had this melody idea for the chorus, I was singing it in my own voice, and I'm like, hey, that sounds cool. But JJ doesn't sound anything like me. So I was just there. I'm like, I was trying to come up with like, how can I sound like JJ? And I was just kept going over and over and over. And I'm like, I got it. I think I sound like JJ. And I wanted to pitch this chorus idea to you. So I recorded the whole thing doing a JJ impression. So that way I could be like, here, it works. And for the record, my JJ impression is pretty good, but when JJ does it, it sounds way better. So thank goodness we did not use my JJ impression version. But yeah, it got the point across, and it, like you said, it's funny because like hearing the chorus, and it's like if you just jumped in, you would have thought it was JJ doing it, and you would have been like, JJ, you suck.
No.
Well, that's because it's Fish. That's because it's Fish doing me.
It cracked me up because Tommy did the same thing, and everybody was like, sometimes, you know, it was very
Sometimes I stand.
that's right. And it was cool. It was really cool because I think it spoke to what you talked about earlier about my vocal range is different than most modern singers are. I mean, they're almost exclusively tenor or higher, and that's because of how their voice sits in the mix. And we actually talked about that when I was listening back to the chorus, and I'm like, I just don't feel me in there. I don't feel that lower register, that my resonance chamber is coming out. And I remember telling you about where my fundamentals sat, and then you moved those down and you made the necessary adjustments. And then after that, it just like that chorus hit so hard. Like it did. Oh man, it did so much. So I appreciate, again, I don't think enough people appreciate that, like when you would tell me things and when I would tell you things, what that collaborative experience is like, to actually have people on both ends want the same thing, but be willing to put in the work to get there and not be dicks about it. Right? Like just being normal people and being like, hey, let's try this. I know you sang I know you sang it this way like 3 or 4 times. Can you then change everything about how you just did that and do it a different way? and I think, you know, I hope people, when they listen to this, can at the very, even if they don't like it, at the very least appreciate how well we collaborated on really sort of like fundamental, like this is what I'm hearing, this is what you're hearing, this is what I'm hearing, this is what you're hearing. Because like I said, 50-50, it was right down the middle. It was straight, like I said, it was straight up. And you know, some of your versions of me singing, I was like, I can't wait to do that. I love that melody. That sounded great. And then I added my little things on here and there. So next, so the first part of the song is what it is. There's there's the introduction to the sort of end of all things and like how we got here. And I remember the original lyrics were all in caps. So I you know, it cracked me up because of the sort of the way that Fish wrote. Like when he sent me over the lyrics, and they're in a Google Doc or whatever, and they're literally all in caps. So I'm like, this guy thought, right, you know. So I'm thinking, oh my god, he wants me to sing it all in caps. But I realized, you know, that it was just how he copied it over or whatever. And so we made a bunch of changes. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We made about 5 different rewrites, if you will, of that whole process. So the first part is to set the scene for no matter what we did. And for me, whenever I sang that, I was no matter what, comma, we dead. And the reason why I'm saying it like that is I'm paying homage to battles that I had been through, and the way that the vernacular the way that our inflections were, like, we did, right? Like when not to make that a joke, but like, I remember vividly somebody looking at me and being like, no, we did, man. And so I was like, how can I sneak that in? And it's interesting because a lot of people would scream that part, but for me, it was like, for me, I sometimes struggle with realizing that I'm still alive, meaning that I sometimes think, I shouldn't be here and other people should be here instead of me. And there's a vulnerability in when I'm sharing my music with other people and even talking with Fish about writing the song, there's this connection that I have to people still that bridges life and death. And I still have a hard time. It's called survivor's guilt, if you want to look it up. And so I try to think about that. And when it comes out of me, it comes out in more a melodic way than I think it would for most other people. And so, that was the intro. And that was something that Fish and I were playing around with. And I appreciated him. Like, he's like, when he heard it, he's like, yep, send that to me right now. What really cracked me up about all my vocals was like, as soon as Fish heard what he wanted, he goes, stop that thing right there. Can you send that to me? And I'm like, I sure can, but let me do it 5 more times and then I'll send it to you. And he's like, no. And then he got all of them anyway. So then the first chorus, out in the open, debris all around me, look to the sky, forever is empty, my heart is pounding, no forgiveness, when death cannot hear me. And the reason why that part flowed the way it did, and then it flows into this other thing, is like, this was a 50-50 thing. This was a collaboration. So it wasn't all about JJ. It wasn't all about echoes and static. This is a shared experience. So then it transitions into welcome to the end, let the earth cry out. So that was Fish coming in with some of his original stuff, and again, we worked, like I said, everything that you hear, everything that you're seeing around, all the stuff. This was except for those of you who aren't watching and maybe that have this on like a podcasty type thing, where you're not watching the video, there's on the screen, my wife actually painted the cover art. And then I just put It's Official and Echoes and Static and Steal Your Life on the top. But underneath of it is my wife's original art. And it's, for some reason, it's showing up kind of weird on the thing, but it doesn't have those wavy lines in it on the actual track itself when you look it up. But, even having other artists, she listened to this song. Small tangent, sorry. But she listened to this song once. And that's what she made when she listened to it. And she's told me to tell Fish that she does not like this kind of music. And she is straight up with me on that. And I appreciate that, her honesty, because I don't play for her a lot of the stuff that I do, because she would just be like, nah, I want your sexy voice. I don't want screamo crazy voice. I don't want all this other stuff. Anyways, but she listened to it and she told me to tell Fish she actually liked it. And that was a huge compliment, because she does not like this stuff. And so so that was a huge, and then she went out and she painted this, because this is the image that was conjured in her head. And to have all of that, be a part of it was really special to me. But anyways, so welcome to the end, let the earth cry out. So this was a callback to the sort of original lyrics, which were to put the listener in this place of visualization, sort of seeing and explaining the story about, like, it's like everything's, it's all coming to an end. And there's still people that are, it's like the Titanic, right? There's still people that are holding on, as like the ship breaks in half and, the thing and the thing and the thing. So we went into that. And then the pre-chorus, which was really interesting, is that we had talked about this a little bit, but I didn't, I don't think I said this out loud more than once. When you're having an esoteric, or when you're having sort of this like a version of midlife crisis, I would suppose, I wouldn't know, by the way, not that old, but I had like a midlife crisis at like 19, so I'm cool saying that. When you have those moments of self-reflection, when you're going through something crazy and awful, I think people can relate to this, though, who don't have to go through that, which is, I want the greater meaning. I want it to all mean something. I want to be unique. Those first 3 lines are so important, because I think everybody wants to be validated. I think everybody wants to mean something to someone else. And I think everybody wants to feel like they're different, like there's something about them that's different. And then when you're confronted with life, which is dirty, ugly, horrific, and crazy, it's also beautiful and everything else, but you become very intimately close with reality, which is, now I don't believe that I'm unique or special or have meaning or purpose at all. Right? So I'll bring you in, Fish, if you want to comment on this part at all.
I suppose I don't have much more to add from what you just said, but I will say, as we were writing the lyrics for this is, I feel like I made a pretty good base, but the story being told in the lyrics, like, is your story, and I can. While I did not go through the same things that you went through, when I listened to it, I mean, it helps that you told me all the things that you did. So now, really, when I listen to it, I'm picturing that.
Right.
But before that, I'm able to find areas in my own life as an accountant that, life still just happens, that I can relate to. And that's like a super interesting thing about music, because where you came from to write this song and where I come from in my life is so different. Yet it still overlaps, of like where I don't relate, I can empathize, and then where I do relate, you feel validated that somebody else is experiencing it. And yeah, I think it's so cool, the lyrics of the song and how personal it is to you. And I'm like, it makes me be like, yeah, let's lit this thing up, baby. And I think we did a really good job at that. I think we really did the story that you were trying to tell. Not that I wasn't trying to tell it, but this predominantly came from you, and I think we really did it justice.
Me too. And I'm and for whatever it's worth, I know that the people that I think of when I made this, and the people that are either here or not, I think that they would respect the fact that you actually heard what I had to say, and you paid homage and respect to their memory. So I hope you feel good. I hope you can feel good about that, because it meant a lot to me.
That means a lot, you saying that.
And so going from the pre-chorus into the chorus, it was cool because I hadn't thought of the whisper, right? But damn, man, that hit hard for me, because like, when you're going through some stuff, you don't exactly get to scream in people's faces all the time, Fish. Like when you're saying, excuse me, I'm going to need you to send me that spreadsheet because your pivot table is incorrect, or your cell was wrong. You don't get to be like, know what I'm saying? Like man screaming sample 1, you know, or screaming sample A, like ah, you know, like there's very like a few opportunities to sort of to like scream in people's face or whatever, but or scream out. It just in general, I mean, you got in trouble recently. We don't have to go any more than that, but like you got in trouble recently for making too much sound. And so when not at his job, everything's fine there. But the saying it, I felt very intimate and very real. That I feel like when people listen to the song, they're going to be able to. It's a weird thing, but people are actually going to respect because there's a dropout in the music as well. So there's a chance to breathe. They're going to respect that moment, and that was really cool. That was really cool because it was an on the fly decision, but man, did that sound cool as hell because it's so intimate, I think. Yes, no, maybe so. Okay.
My thought process with it was like, the song is we're pressing down on the gas pedal. We're getting up to speed, and I was kind of just like thinking of it like you're coming up to an intersection. It's like slow down, just make sure we're good. Okay, go.
Check.
That's kind of how I was thinking.
Check. Yeah. You good? You good? You good? You good? You good? Okay, let's go. And so going into the chorus. So this was oh, that's funny. I called the second chorus the second verse, or the second verse the second chorus in the thing. Ugh. I'm gonna have to fix that. Dang it. Anyways, so once this song has been uploaded, which it has, and now it's being published, I get to go into a service that I sync the lyrics up with the song, and so I'm going to do that. I have to wait until a certain amount of time so that the system can see it, that kind of thing. So the next pre-chorus, so I'm going to have to change that. I can actually change that right now and type in verse. The first chorus is, sometimes I stand in the fire to feel alive, front lines I ring, kill the lights to feel the rise, leave me so broken, promise you'll see me again, stitch me up to steal your life. I don't want to explain too much on this chorus because I think this chorus is going to mean something. It's in and of itself, I think, to me, and you can speak to what you think, but to me it's almost like a poem. It's almost like it'll mean it'll mean a little bit of something different for everybody that hears it. Not unlike the song, but this chorus is probably one of the coolest, catchiest choruses that I've ever heard, and that we did together, and he mimicked me and did, and we did. And it just like, it's so fit. It fit right in the pocket of the chorus that was developed sort of originally with the original intent and all this other kind of stuff. So I'll let you speak to it and whatever you have to say on that.
When it comes to lyrics, I'm like, when I read them from somebody else and my own, I'm pretty literal. If it's intentionally written to be ambiguous, I'm like, but what is it?
What does it mean?
What does it mean? And there's lines in the chorus that I think anybody can relate to if you pull them out. Like, I stand in the fire to feel alive. There's so many meanings to that. And then, like, I'm not sure if the listener will always understand what you mean by kill the lights to feel a rise. But I like the line because it's like, I'm trying to respect and not just explain the chorus so that way whoever's listening can like have their own interpretation. But I guess when you're so numb to everything around you. The things you go through, the things that you will do just to feel something. I feel like that vibe,
Yeah.
no matter who you are, is all over the chorus. Even though there's so much more to it than that.
Yeah.
It's just also the chorus is just it's
Sick
got
as
some
hell.
familiar melodies in it.
Yeah.
But it's also so unique, and I think the lyrics play a big part to that. Because like if sometimes I stand in the fire to feel alive, kill the lights to feel a rise. Leave me so broken, promise you'll see me again. Stitch me up to steal your life. The ending doesn't really rhyme.
No. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because it's like I feel like there's so much energy that's just like chugging away to get towards the end. It's like it doesn't matter that it's not even rhyming. It's just like boom, 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 all the way to the end. And I think that in particular is unique because it was like it's more important to get the point across than it is to make a rhyme.
Well, no, it rhymes because sometimes I stand. What rhymes with ran, and then rise skips over the broken and again, and then hits again on life. So that's how it works. Yeah.
All right, I'll concede that.
That's right. There's different ways to do it. So anyways, I don't want this to, be the only thing you do this evening. The chorus for me, just I could sing that. I could sing that thing forever. And the thing that I like about it from my end is I enjoy the way that I sang it. Does that make sense? Like there was a bunch of different ways to sing it, but like when I sing it, I just hear JJ, and that to me means the world to me. Meaning that like I hear Fish because he's in there, obviously doing the harmonies and everything else. And I hear that, but I mean the uniqueness that you talked about for me as an artist, being able to hear, like, I didn't hear anybody else in there insofar as like, oh, he's trying to be this guy, or he's trying to be that guy, or he's trying to be that girl, or he's trying to be this, that, and the other. I heard me. And for me, that was huge. That was just... That was a huge win for me, and you helped me with that. So I wanted to, I know I'm saying all these positive things to you online that I probably should have said offline, but I think I've kind of covered that. But anyways, I just appreciate you for that, because when I hear this chorus, I'm like, that's JJ from Echoes Instead. That guy. Nope, I know who that guy is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like when I gave you my JJ impression of this chorus, it's pretty similar to what it is, but even when you sang it after hearing my impression, you still changed some of the melody.
Yeah.
Especially on Feel a Rise, I think I hit a completely different note that was like nowhere near the note that you ended up hitting. Mm-hmm. And the one you hit, it fits so much better. I don't know if you did it on purpose or if it was on accident because you were just singing it. However you landed on it, though, yeah. It worked way better. Where immediately when I heard it, I was like, in my head, I'm like, if he tries to sing it the way I did it, I'm going to be like, nope, don't do that. The way you just did it is way better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so the emotional side of things, Fish said that when we were working together, he's, heard stuff from other people where they didn't put any emotion, hardly at all, into their performance or their delivery, and he's like, JJ, I'm gonna need you to dial back your emotions a little bit, and that's where a lot of my melody that's where a lot of my melodic elements come from, is because I come at it from such an emotional place, and then I have to reel it back in, and that's another reason why I like working with you in present tense, is that you were just like, come on back, no, come on back, let's bring you back. So the reason why I delivered certain things the way that I did was it was straight up from an emotional place, So yeah, I appreciate you for that.
If you don't mind, I don't mean this in any kind. I mean this just because I think it's funny. I'm not trying to poke fun at you, like make fun of you. I think it's part of the creative process. So when you're trying, like, when you're just letting the emotion flow through you, I think it's very, like, when somebody's crying, like something really heavy happened, like that person crying does not look pretty.
No, they're ugly criers. Yeah, for sure.
It's a mess. They're making all kinds of noises. And so when you started recording and you were just letting whatever was flowing through you come out, it's like, you start getting some wild things that I'm like, all right, I can hear that you really mean that, but I don't think that is going to come across to the listener.
Yeah.
I don't think that is, they're not here watching you do that. They're just going to be listening in their car. And then you add on top of it when you start mixing the vocals, especially in this genre where you just, you're doing, 20 dB of noise reduction when you compress the vocals in this genre. It is going to just emphasize every little detail in your voice when you're compressing it that hard, and that's why I have to have you dial it back a little bit.
And I love you for it, man. I love you for it. It made me better. Man, and I like I said, I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. So the next part, so we go into, so I sang a bunch of different lives. Like, so Steal Your Life, the life, I sang a bunch of different versions, which is awesome that I did that. And by the way, I sang a lot of the final takes super sick and for 8 hours straight. And, I was really proud, but I couldn't talk for like 2 days. But I sang a bunch of versions of Life, and then he took those samples of that, and he waited to the end to just hit him in there. And I was like, yes, dude, I didn't do him for nothing. It was fantastic. So that was really cool. Now the next part was, man, we went back and forth on this a lot, but, again, when I say back and forth, none of it was like in a bad way, and maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong, but none of it was it was never like a back and forth like we are, but it was like, how can we do this better? That's where I was always at. When I'm like, the truth burns out my eyes, you stuck a knife into my side. That was a part. That was definitely a part, and we were just like, how are we going to respect the rest of the song, and how are we going to do this, that, and the other? And so what I do a lot of the times is I do the syllable count. So it's just like, the truth burns out my, and like I count the syllables and how people say certain things, and then how you can get away with stretching out a word or a vowel. And it's important to do that. It's important to remember vowels. It's important to remember like the rhythm and timing, and then the story on top of that. Eat your heart out, AI. Try to come up with that, my friend. But anyways, so we came back and forth, and then this part to me was super important because I was envisioning when I sat up after I thought I had totally been dead or was killed, but I kind of sat up and was just like, I had a different view on some things. I had a near-death experience, multiple ones, I must say, throughout my life. But there was versions of this verse, and I think I'm super glad we decided to land on where we came out with this, because they're carve out your hearts, replace with emptiness. That might not make sense, but earlier in the song, I look to the sky, forever's empty. The idea with that from a lyricist perspective and for a callback perspective was that the second verse was a way to tell people how we got where we're at. So we started with we're at the end and we're turning around and telling everybody how we got here. And then we start the first verse with like from the timeline going forward. And so going forward, the next part was the truth burns out my eyes. And so that talks about how there's a horrible realization that happens when you realize that the things that you believed are no longer applicable. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to get into a longer conversation about why that's such a big deal. But for me, and in my character as Echoes in Static, insofar as me projecting it into other people, is a revenant. Like I feel like sometimes that I solely exist to enact vengeance upon those who have wronged me. And a part of that is the soullessness of telling somebody who is trying to be in our currently, you can take all the things that I'm saying and go all throughout history. There has always been a concerted effort to remove your heart from you, because the smarter you are, the less profit margin, the dumber you are, or the more heartless you are, because of the nature of how things work. You have a higher profit margin, meaning that like, if you're pretty dumb, you're going to make dumb choices. And dumb choices, what does that mean? That means that you spent more money or you did something that wasn't good for you, and it usually benefits someone else. And so for me, this was more of an allegory, more of a storytelling. Just in and of itself, this one verse is all the things that I'm talking about. And we never look beyond the surface. There are 18 and sometimes even 17-year-olds or whatever. I can't prove that 17 part, but people over the voting age, so over 18, are getting filler in their face already. And I'm like, what? Why? You're pretty as you are. What are we doing here? And so, one of our downfalls is most, if not all of society, because we're talking about the end of the world here. So how did we get there? Right? So let's say that this is the end. How did we get there? A large part of that was vanity. And this is me talking about vanity and talking about hollow pursuits. And this is actually based on top of Fish's original lyrics as well, because I wanted to pay homage to that part of the song also. So when it says, we never look beyond the surface, and then when we're brought to a moment where we have to meet the moment, I'm going to say this again. When you have to meet the moment and you're brought to the person and or thing that exists in the universe in this moment, and you have to lay out the decisions you've made throughout your life, either as a society or as a person, you're laying down what you've done up until this point. Here's my body of work. Here's what I did. And you know what? I look around and I personally see failures all over the place. I see failures everywhere. I don't mean people necessarily. I mean systems. I mean all sorts of stuff that's wrapped up into this verse. I bet Fish is sitting there going, I had no idea it meant all this to this guy. But anyways, correct. So correct, he says. So we're laying our collective work, because right now, as of this recording, as of last week, the most powerful person in the world was talking about wiping a culture off the face of the planet. Now, however you feel about that, that is a really far cry from everybody holding hands around the earth. You know, when you were a kid and you saw everybody holding hands around bless the rains down it. So like that is very not kumbaya. That is very end of the worldy. So it fits very much into the meaning of how we got here. Because if you launch a nuke, no matter or if you do the equivalent of that, no matter what country you're rooting for, that's not a good outcome. You know, that's not good. Those are bad things. All of those things are bad. And so even if you go back 10, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, this still rings true. We have not lived up to the expectations of what we're possible of. And in this verse, I try to capture that from a societal, socioeconomic, and from a very visceral place, where I live in a place where there's a lot of homelessness, there's a lot of income inequality, there's a lot of like all these things. And we were talking about this last night or early this morning, however you want to look at it. I had no idea that rocket was going to the moon, you know? And I'm happy that we're doing stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm just like, really? How about we have some type of like, I care about my fellow man, that kind of thing. But how do you get to the end of the world and everything blowing up and dying and all the rest? Is you do the second verse. You talk about it. You say, this is what's happening. I'm not Chicken Little. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. You're pregnant. You're not going to make it to the hospital. So you're having the baby on the I-5 corridor. I'm sorry, sweetie, but here we are. It's time to start pushing, you know? And so the second pre-chorus is, I want the greater meaning. I want it to all mean something. I need to be unique. And now I do not believe, now I do not believe. That is sung with much more like angst. And then the believe, that is, instead of it being believe, you know, we're not intimate anymore. We're very much in it. And I'm very much, you know, heated. And then Fish comes in and he says, believe, you know, and he screams, and then we just boom into the chorus. Would you like to comment on anything I just said?
I think this is actually a terrific example of the creative process because I don't know, maybe I'm just I'm a very simple guy. And so I'm like seeing like, here's the pieces that need to be in place for it to sound good. And JJ has thoughts like this, where I like everything that he just said about the second verse. I was about 10% with him when we were working on it, apparently. Where yeah. I'm like, oh, those are good. Oh, that's a bar. You know, that I like how that sounds. That's got like a really cool groove to it. And I think this is a very good example, like I just said, of what it was like working together, where I'm kind of like putting these pieces in place that I'm like, that sounds good. That, you know, that's catchy. That's going to hook people. And then JJ's like, well, I've got all these thoughts. I've got all these ideas. I've got like we're going deep to get as much meaning out of this as we can.
Yeah.
And I think when that like collides with each other, of like him and I don't know. I think like when I listen to this song, it is one of the most unique songs I've heard in a very long time.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, so I guess I don't have a whole lot to say on what JJ just talked about. As more so, I think it's a great example of what it was like working with him. But also, I think it's what makes him such a awesome and unique artist that he has all of these like this is how his head works when he's making music. And personally, I think that's very special. So
thank you. I love that, brother. Thank you. I really do. So we go into the second chorus, and then we come out, and this was interesting because for me, I had never I don't think I've ever heard conductor used in a song that wasn't like 1930s or 40s or something. Like I don't think I've ever heard that word in a song. I mean, I could probably search it, and I'm not going to, but there's not that many times I bet the word conductor is used in a song. But this was the bridge here is what we called it in the lyrics. The bridge here is I envision a masterpiece of flawless unity, and I felt that very, very much when because those are his. And he was very he's like, JJ, I know what I hear you, but I'm gonna need you to keep that in there. And I was like, all right, cool, I respect that. So why don't you kind of tell the audience what this the bridge lyrics sort of means to you, like, and you changed the last two lines that are in there, so go for it.
I was looking at it like where we found ourselves in this situation, and when we are making choices about our lives, you don't make them with the intent to destroy yourself. Like like, how can I make this as the best as possible? Mm-hmm. Even when you're making stupid decisions, and other people around you, people who control a lot of like how your life is going to go a little bit, whether it's politics or something like that. So that's kind of what I had in mind, is like, dude, I envisioned this being way better than this. I envisioned flawless unity.
Yeah. Which I did too, by the way.
Whatever we were following has completely turned its back on us. It either doesn't care, it either intentionally destroyed us, or is just whack, completely insane, and has taken us off the rails, which is, I'm pretty sure if anybody else is using conductor in a song, it's probably in a similar way to make that the metaphor of derailing whatever it is.
It took everything in me not to sing that other thing. Don't do it. It took everything in me to not sing that thing.
I won't.
You know what I'm talking about.
Trying to think if I have more thoughts on that part. It really is as simple as that. Is just when we're trying to either follow somebody or dictate where our lives are going, we're not trying to destroy ourselves, but when the train is derailing, you find, oh my gosh, we've lost it, and now it's too late. So yeah, that's what I had in mind for the bridge.
Thank you, Tommy. I love you, Tommy. Talk about the what have you unleashed, because before that wasn't what you were gonna say. Like, you were gonna say something completely different.
Jeez, I'm trying to remember what did I say there.
Hold on. You said
it was the same cadence. It was like, what have you unleashed is what I say.
Yeah. To repeat, run for your life.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And you're like, oh yeah, thanks JJ for bringing that up. You're like the most uninspired line I could have possibly written.
I remember dropping that in because I just needed something, and like every time it appeared, especially with how deep the lyrics were getting. When it gets to that part, and I decide to scream, oh, run for your life. I'm like, geez, man, that is not good.
Oh, come on. Good. Yeah, this isn't a high school science project. No. We're bringing it. So it's time to.
It's like trying to insult somebody, but you don't want to say bad words. You're like, you're just a beaten down, dirty piece of grass.
That's malarkey. You're malarkey. Shit. Anyways, and so when he changed it up a little bit, and then put this in there, it just so fit, and then it just kind of took off and flew from there. And then we go into an awesome, what do we call this? Metal step or something?
I mean, this part is, I guess, if with the screams, it would make it metal step. Instrumentally, though, it is, I would say it's predominantly like just dubstep or hard step. Mm-hmm. You can hear the guitars following along in the background, but it is more so to fill the space,
right,
and also have continuity through the song. I didn't want to take away from the like, whoa, what the heck, when it hits.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I like how when it hits, even though it wasn't originally the intention, I wanted to have dubstep and all these electronic elements show up a lot sooner, but it just wasn't working. Everything felt out of place. So I kind of had to change my mind on it. But I like how when it hits, it really is, if you haven't heard the song before, you're going to be like, oh, all right.
So we're doing this now.
So, yeah,
and again,
we're doing
Sarah,
dubstep now.
Sarah, my number one critic and my number one fan, which I have to say is kind of crappy in one person. I wish that they were two separate people, because I could be like, hey, is this cool? I know that this person is going to be like, no, that's not cool. You can do better. And then if I go to another person, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. I'm like, oh, thanks. Nope, I don't have a safe place to land. It's just like straight up, you suck during this part, or this part sucks, or whatever. But she was, and I talk about her a lot because she's a huge part of my life, obviously. And she really did. She was like, tell him, the song's awesome. He sounds good. She's like, I even like his screams, and I don't like that at all. I like, but she specifically liked it. Like, she made me stop playing it. She was like, I just want to say how much I like that part. And that's rare when you get somebody who, that's really a barometer for me. That's really a good test case. If you have somebody that just does not like this kind of stuff, be like, oh, damn, that sounded really awesome. At least for me.
Well, that's an awesome compliment.
Yeah.
I'll hold that close.
Yeah. And so I'm actually going to play the song all the way up to where we're at in this conversation, because something's about to happen for me on this other part. So I'm going to play it.
Are you going to stop it all? Or you just want to let it ride?
I'm going to pause it. Yeah.
Okay.
Empty, my heart is pounding, no forgiveness when death cannot hear me. Welcome to the end, hear the earth cry out. I can hear the wind sound as our light burns out. The sound of life dying is so deafening. The fingers of hope hold on desperately.
All right, so wow. So all the things we talked about, now that you've heard all those things in context, the audience who is going to watch this back later, is, you know, you can hear what, well, hopefully you can hear all the little ear candy that's been placed inside of the song. And Fish did a really good job of, in my opinion, of adding every accent exactly where it needed to be, and how it needed to be there. And that breakdown, chef's kiss, perfect, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing I would change about it. Your backwards, ow, like that was amazing. Your backwards scream or whatever, and just everything else. It's such a good song. It's just a good song. I paused it here because before we go any further, I did a few takes of this next part vocally, and they were very emotional, and they was ugly crying, and as Fish would say, it was an ugly cry situation. Sorry.
We should use that. I'm going to use that the rest of my life. That is a good.
And it was an ugly cry situation, and so I pulled myself together, and I was able to just get into this mode where it felt like all of life, just like you're on a stage, all the lights are on, and then all the lights go off, and there's one spotlight, and it's on me. And I don't say that from in any way that's egotistical. I just mean it was like, it's now on me to bring this thing home. Like, can you, JJ, echoes and static, whatever, they're interchangeable, can you sing this part and put people into this isolation that you feel in this moment, and then sing it? So we did this part multiple times, and it wasn't right. And then I think I was seeing things, and then I sang it, and it was like, I think Tommy was there, and I think Fish and Tommy at the same time, if I'm remembering correctly, which usually I am, and I'm trying to be modest. It was like, no, that right there, that stop, everything stop, because what I'll do is I'll just sing the part over and 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 over again, and I start to lose consciousness.
By the way,
what's that?
That's not an exaggeration, by the way.
No, it's true. Yeah. No, it's just literally over. It's like I'm a machine or something, you know. And I started to lose all objectivity, and I just like let it ride. And they were like, no, that right there, that. And then I sent it over, and it was kind of a moment. It was a moment, and I heard different versions of this next part that's coming up. And it wasn't until I heard the final version that I was like, oh my God, he did it. He was able to do it. So I'm gonna play for you what I feel is like the culmination of sort of my biggest strengths in delivering something that is vocally good, right? I'll leave it up for everybody to decide how good it is. And then to really, like Fish said, he goes, dude, this is just you. So if you suck, it's going to stand out right now, because you're going to have no help from anything else. I can't. The way that we've designed this track, you're going to have to just sing this part, and and it's either going to be good or it's going to be bad, but it's going to be something. So here we are. I think he just did a phenomenal job of capturing this moment in time. So I'm going to play it now.
Sometimes I stand in the fire to feel alive.
Front lines I
All right, so this is super important for all of you to understand. Right here, there's a bass, and if you're on mobile, you're probably not going to hear it very well. You can hear it, but you're going to have to turn it up. And so there's a bass here, and so for me, I'm not going to go into why, but this sounds like a helo, what we call a helo or a helicopter. This sounds like the Blades, and this is a callback to something that I kept private with Fish at the very beginning of this song, and then he tied it back in and brought it home here. And so for me, it put me back in that very specific moment in time, and also was able to just isolate and all the like doom, you know? So he's building up with the guitar.
Sometimes I stand in the fire to feel alive.
I don't think that could have went any better. If I'm being humble, like if I'm just trying to keep it, 100 or whatever, that part for me, that was just like that. He did it. He nailed it. And so, we nailed it. And so I just thank you so much for that. 'Cause it was, it's an emotional, just every time I hear it, I'm like, well, that guy, that sounds like that guy. Hey, that guy, that sounds like him. Not anybody else, that sounds like him. And, for me, that was huge. It was huge. And it was awesome. And so, I appreciate it.
Where you keep saying, like, you made me sound this way. And that part, like, there was not a lot of, like, tuning needed or anything. That's pretty much, like, just compression.
Mm-hmm.
And, little EQ to get rid of harsh frequencies that,
right,
microphones pick up.
Yeah.
I think the only creative thing I did was where you say alive, and I decided I'm gonna drop this down here at the end.
You did, I remember. Yeah, we had that combo.
I just dropped it down. I'm like, there, just gonna have it live, and I'm like, but other than that, I know you're giving me a lot of props, but you sang that part like that. For the most part, I just compressed it and made it sit in the mix. And since we already had vocal processing for like the whole song, that was super easy. So all the credit there is to you.
I appreciate that.
There's like that we have like just some minor instrumental things happening in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that whole part really relied on you being good. So,
yes. Being good, don't suck.
And went beyond that.
Thank you. Yeah, don't suck. I believe was the consensus when I was singing, and I was like, "Thanks, guys, much appreciated. That's some good advice." Hey,
don't do that badly.
Don't suck. This is extremely important. Don't suck. And I sucked a couple of times, and then I got it right. But Yeah, and then just going into the, you can hear it, hopefully people listen to this thing on repeat over and over again for the rest of their lives, and this is the only other song that they know. But you will hear like glass breaking, and you will hear all these little pieces of ear candy throughout this entire song, and I just couldn't get enough of it. I couldn't get enough of the production. I couldn't get enough of the way that our voices work together, and then it all led up to this moment where it was like, all right, JJ, look, hey, we were writing once, and he's like, okay, you write the lyrics for this part if you're so freaking special. So then I wrote this part, and he was like, oh, so you're just gonna call me out on that and like just do that right then and there? I was like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got game. You know what I mean? And so that was a lot of fun. But anyway, so it was just like, all right, so we almost did that thing where it was like, I'm throwing it to you. You got to bring this home, and then we're gonna kick back into the end, and it's gonna be epic, and it's gonna be this whole thing. And it didn't disappoint. And in fact, I retracked the front lines I ran differently, and then the second part differently, because I had to sing in a higher octave, and I didn't like some of the other versions that I had done up until then, because I was like, nah, we can do that, we can get that done. And just the way that the song goes the rest of the way is just like, I mean, if people don't that listen to it, and I know that there's going to be a small sample size at first, but or a small amount of people at first, but eventually this thing's going to get some traction. When they hear everything that led up to that, and then the rest of the song, there should be no reason why they're not like, I have got to listen to that again at least one more time, because wow, right? There's a lot of things that are happening in the production. If you want to talk about any production stuff, I think now would be a good time to do that. But there's a lot of stuff that it's happened in that production and in the sound design that is just, it's awesome. It's really awesome to listen to. It was awesome to sing to, and it was awesome to listen to and be a part of. So,
I think the production is definitely my EDM side showing, even if it's not electronic stuff necessarily. That genre comes with like a lot of like impacts and risers and sound effects and I know that's not new to metal, especially modern metal. There's a lot of whooshes and impacts, but there's a lot. I'm taking it to the next level. And it just comes from like, when I hear the song, I'm like, oh, it'd be really cool if that was there. And then the important part here is when you have the idea, just put it in immediately. It's really hard to have an empty song and then go through it and start sprinkling things in it. At least for me, it is.
I can see that, yeah.
As I'm working, if I'm writing a riff or we're working on the lyrics and then something pops up, I'm like, I put it in. And then when you listen back to the song, you'll find out quickly if that works or not. It might sound really cool when you listen 20 seconds before and then it happens. But then when you hear the whole song all together, when the part comes up, you're like, wow, that was really distracting and bad.
And bad.
Yeah. And part of you mentioned this at the start, how I have listened to this song at least 200 times, and it's because I'm checking the mix and I want to see if it holds up. Does it sound cool for 5 plays, and then after that it gets boring, and when that happens, that's where I kind of go like, all right, something else needs to happen here to keep it interesting. So I think when it comes to adding the production, I suppose I don't really have. It's essentially that would sound cool, and I put it in, and then if it works, it stays. If it doesn't, I pull it out. I don't really have. I guess my writing style is very much throw it at the wall and see what sticks. I don't really have a vision of what's there. I guess it's accidents is how I work. I stumble into a lot of things.
It's,
And then when it comes to like the impacts and hitting stuff,
I actually
I love
made something
impacts.
awesome.
Exactly. I love impacts.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I definitely overuse them. So when you listen to the song 100 times, you start to be like, there's too many here. That what, like, we just had one. There's no need for it to happen again 4 measures later. Sometimes
Just
it does
'cause.
need to happen again 4 measures
Sometimes
later.
I need to stand in the fire, people. Sometimes, brother.
Yeah. And then it was like, this is a long song in today's terms, 5.5
Yeah.
minutes.
Right.
And there's a lot happening in the song, so I always kind of have in mind to bring back familiar elements. So which is why, like, especially towards the end, the repeating the "Still Your Life" part over again, bringing back the line from the first verse, because I think it's an awesome line just in general.
Yeah.
And ending the song on "When Death Cannot Hear Me." I think that works really well, but I had in mind to put that earlier because I was just like, let's bring something back from earlier in the song because it's familiar. It helps the listener latch on. And then I'm like, that is such a cool line. I'm ending the song on that and just put it at the end. But
I stand on it. I stand on it. I just yeah, I mean, I think you did just a phenomenal job. And I wouldn't have wanted to do a true collaboration with anybody else looking back on it, so I appreciate you for that. And so we talked about a lot, and I don't want people to get sick and tired of me, but was so after listening to the song and going through anything where some takeaways or some advice, or I don't know, just let it roll, brother, whatever from this conversation.
okay. I definitely came out of this thing like every area of music that I do, I came out stronger. Because if I was working on this song on my own, it would have never sounded anything like this. Then there was creative decisions I never would have even thought of that now when I write stuff in the future, I'm going to be having that kind of stuff in mind.
Yeah.
Learning how to mix your voice, because I don't work with many people. So I don't have a lot of experience mixing clean vocals. And so you having such a unique, different voice, it was like if I went to YouTube for a tutorial, it was never any voice that sounded like yours.
No.
So I was kind of figuring it out as I was going. So like just that on its own, learning how to mix your voice into this, I now have a lot of knowledge that I'm going to use going into the future. And as I work on songs, I like to think I get better every time I do it.
I think you do.
And
Yeah.
the stuff I learn, I take with me into the next one. And there are so many tracks in this song that mixing it all was a challenge. But it was so worth it because like I feel like everything kind of sits right. It may not be the cleanest in the world, but nothing sounds bad in my opinion.
No.
And like the emotional parts of every instrument comes through, and I think that's like what's most important. And also, I guess collaborating can be really hard sometimes. I remember telling you this in the beginning, where whenever a decision's made, it should always be made for the benefit of the song. And that's really important to stick to that because your egos can really get in the way, especially when a lot of effort has been put in already. And for then somebody else to be like, we're removing that part, that can cause some friction. So I think making sure you really vibe with the person that you're collaborating with is really important because especially like as you and I got closer through this process, you earn the right to say things when you get closer with the person.
That's right.
When we first started doing this, you know, you're a little bit more like, oh, I don't know if that's working. I'm not sure. Maybe we try a different direction. If that doesn't work, we'll come back to this. You kind of like go at it a little easier. Then towards the end, where you both know each other and you understand each other, if one of us does something that is horrendous, the other person can be like, hey, pal, that was horrible. Don't do that again.
Bruh, you're an ugly crier. Don't do that again.
Yeah. But if you did that, if you don't know the person really well and you start doing that, you might mean it because you're just trying to have some fun, and but it doesn't get taken that way. You really have to earn that.
So true.
By building a relationship with the person you're collaborating with. And I think that's the most important part. You both could be the world's best songwriters, but if you're not getting along, it's like, how on earth are you going to make something beautiful?
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I'm all done.
No, you're not. You're not done. You just haven't been prompted. Yeah, he is. When I listen to people talk and their cadences or whatever, it's just like, just take a shot of your preferred energy drink, and then we'll circle back around to you. And you're like, oh wait, no, and no, I agree. I think you do have to. I think a lot of people are surprised when they start to like really get to know me, because I'm actually hard to get to know a little bit, like offline. Because I have a lot of walls up. But I also kind of tell people how it is, so to speak. But we work together for long periods of time, and it is very easy, aside from your wife and my wife, if you spend so much time, well, I mean, I talked to Tommy for like 8 hours yesterday, so this doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. But for the most part, you can only tolerate another human for so long. And we worked together for a long time, and we still were cracking jokes and having a good time. And I think for me, that was the sign of true collaboration, right? Like, of being able to get this thing done, regardless of like where we're at in the process. Because I even told Sarah, I was like, this guy, he's like, dude, I write songs in like a week. I've listened to this song too. I'm starting to go insane. I need to stop. We need to stop. But I'm like, no. Hear me out. Let's just do this. Let's just keep, and to be able to, go outside of your comfort zone and continue to work on it and listening to it more and more than you usually do on some of the other things you've done. Actions speak louder than words, and I think you go in those, doing those extra things, it translated, and I'm just so, regardless of the feedback that we get from other communities where we're gonna put this song, and we already have in another community, and put this song up and stack it against other songs. I feel like it meets the moment, and I feel like it's the best version it's a snapshot in time of my, certainly my best vocal performance. And I think a snapshot of my best that I could give in that moment, you know what I mean? And so I would put that against literally anybody's stuff, right now. And I stand on that, and I think that you do too. I'm just really I'm freaking proud of. Dang it, I'm just really proud of the work we did. And it's hard to say that. I don't know if I've never asked you this before, but have you ever said to yourself, "I'm proud of you"?
To myself?
Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
And I tried, yeah. I mean, like in terms of music, I look back on a couple of the songs like that I wrote this year, and last year too. I forget that I've been like It's Official's been like, I'm coming up on a year.
I literally
like,
just came up on a year, so yeah.
Whew. I look back on like the songs, and even though like it's like they're my first songs, I understand that they might be, above average for somebody who's just started. But I had a lot of experience coming into this, and there's also about 45 songs that the world will never hear that before those ever came out.
Yes.
So like I look back on those songs, and I'm very proud of them because everything that you like that has come out as It's Official is the best stuff I have ever released in my life.
Yeah. That's cool.
And as much as I love doing dubstep and stuff, I just never could make a song and be like, wow, that's like really good. It's usually like, that's got a cool part in it. That's the best I can do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I just feel like this was the best we had to offer, and at this point in our life, like with all the constraints involved, it was like a picture. It was
actually, before we decided to release, like we're like, this is final, and I know you were hinting at wanting to re-record some parts. And I think that's the downside of working on a song for so long is like we started this back in December. So,
how dare you tell the people that I wanted to re-record a bunch of stuff. Nope, I'm not. This is all, we were all, so up until this point, we talked about all success and no failures, which he has, which I didn't realize until just now. And I wanted to say this before we hopped off, which is like, you have a lot of outtakes from me saying like some weird things. Like I say some weird things. I don't even remember some of the things I said, but I say the F word multiple times and in different ways. And I mean, I have a feeling one of those are going to show up in a song somewhere. I'm
mutilated.
The mutilated man scream. Yes, of course. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I had something to say here. I'm trying to, let me see if I can bring myself back.
Damn you, Tommy.
Yeah, can you refresh my memory in the last 30 seconds?
I was talking about, being proud of the song and, being proud of yourself. And this is the best version of what we had to offer at this time. And you said, yeah.
All right, I'm with you now. So I think this is one of the downsides of working on a song for so long, because we started this in December.
We did.
Through this process, you grow a lot.
Yeah.
And, this is months, and we've both improved since we started the song. It's really easy to then be like, wow, I'm better now
I know.
than I was when we started this thing. And, a song can almost never end if you'll never finish it because you just keep like, I got better. Let me do it again better. That's why I like to kind of get songs out quick, because the longer I dwell on them, the less likely it is they'll actually come out. So I really put a lot of energy in, and then I'm like, there, stop. It's over.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. I'm pretty sure this project, if I pull it up, between us recording and the mixing and everything, I'm pretty sure this project has like well over 100 hours in it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but that just speaks to like how much it mattered,
Oh, I agree with that. We were not half butting this.
No.
It was like, if we're going to do it, it's going to be done to the best of our ability. And I really think that comes through.
Well, and
I'm also really proud of you, by the way, because I know I made you retake a lot of stuff.
I appreciate you. Yeah.
And like, when I listen to the song, it's like, it's crazy just being like, I mean this with all due respect, hearing the first tries of the song and hearing where it is now and how you stuck with it to keep like, I can do it better. It wasn't always me saying, I need you to do it better. It then turned into you being like, I know I can do that better. Let me do it again. And yeah, I'm really proud of you for that, because most people would have gotten burnt out on this and either started over or just been like, I'm done, I can't do it. And
Yeah.
you sticking with it all the way to the end, I really think all that energy comes through in the final product. So yeah, I just want to let you know, I'm super proud. When I'm listening to it, I'm like waving around my my like number one JJ foam finger, like woo!
Listen to that mug. Like I heard him do it, and he was like, he was okay, but then he's like, I'm gonna do it better, and it's like, sure, bud, sure, champ, sure you are. And it's like, oh my god, he did it better. Oh my god, he did it better. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude.
I appreciate you saying that. And so don't forget to follow Tommy K UBISKI music on all the platforms. Because even though he wasn't involved in this call, I don't think I could have got where I'm at musically without him. He definitely helped me a lot, and I think he helped Fish a little bit too as well.
Yeah, he filled in a lot of the gaps that like I wasn't sure what we needed or stuff, and he was like, he just like was like, hey, I got some stuff that'll help.
Yeah, I mean, I love that guy. Like, well, and so I really appreciate him, and I appreciate everybody that was a part of it in some tangential way, and I thank my wife for making the original album cover so that people aren't like, how come you went with a not original art? You know what? Bam! You want original art? It's right there in your face, right there. It's right there in your face.
That's super sick.
And yeah, and what's really cool is it's right here. This painting right here.
Oh, that is fire.
Check it. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart. This is it's official, and Echoes in Static, Steal Your Life. Go check it out, and I would greatly appreciate it.